Eric is the head of consumer insights at 23andMe, which is a company I think most people are familiar with, though you may, many people probably have a dated view of what the company does. It's a lot more than simply a way to discover that you're Brad Pitt's third cousin. It is today very much a health and wellness company, seeking to improve health outcomes by studying the human genome one individual at a time. And in fact, they very recently published some very highly regarded analytical work into the coronavirus.
Okay, great. So for most of you, as Ken mentioned, are probably somewhat familiar with the brand name 23andMe, but probably have, unless you're actually a customer, a more surface understanding about the company and what it does. So I'm going to spend most of the short time talking, kind of giving you an overview about, give you a little bit more information, but also understand how it fits into trends that are happening with COVID-19 and, well, the relevance with COVID-19 in general, and advances in telemedicine and tech. Okay, sorry, here we go. So the blurb about today's conference was this above, that C-19 pandemic is accelerating trends, reshaping healthcare, and the arrival of big tech and adoption of new methods for delivering care and therapeutics. But is this what consumers, their doctors want or need? Well, that's my role. I'm speaking as the voice of the consumer for our company. And I thought to frame this up nicely would be to share the 23andMe mission, which is basically to help people access, understand, and benefit from the human genome. So at 23andMe, we recognize the this emerging area of science and how interconnected the human genome is to everything having to do with your health. And there is no more personalized healthcare than when you actually have your personal genome attached to it. So I'll get into that a little bit here. First of all, I'll give you an understanding for those of you who are not customers. This is kind of what our package looks like. And for many of you, you think of 23andMe as, oh yeah, it's that genetics company that you can find out where your great-grandparents came from, and if you have any hidden relatives out there. And yes, we do all that. But our emphasis is, and where it fits in as far as this conference comes in, is more on the healthcare side. So just to give you a broad overview, we've got over 12 million customers. Part of what we do, and that's what this part is up here, the 3 billion survey questions answered, it's not just a matter of submitting your sample, but we ask a lot of questions, and we're able to connect those with your genome, and also then be able to, you can imagine the scale when you have 12 million customers, you can really start coming up with some great scientific discoveries from that. So so we have engaged customers. 80% of our customers are participating in the research part. We're the only company with FDA authorized direct-to-consumer genetic health risk reports. And we've got over 150 published research papers that have come from all this. That's a high-level overview. So this is just to give you an idea about what we offer to customers is over a lot of different health predispositions, carrier status traits, wellness, and over 2,000 in the ancestry space. So it is kind of a unique and different kind of business where it works between what the consumer is providing, which is basically their sample and their survey responses. Then we have a whole research department that is working to come up with different cures and treatments for different diseases. We have many different ones going on right now, from Parkinson's to lupus and a whole bunch of others that we're working on. And then therapeutics, which is actually creating treatments and cures for different conditions. So our product, basically super simple. You order it, it's online only. You spit into the container, you send it in, and then you get your results. So as I mentioned before, we do the ancestry part for those of you that are looking to get that, and that's always very interesting. And it is part of what we do. It's a big part. We have a whole division of the company that's focused on making this the best possible. But that's not all it is. And that's part of part of our hurdle is to get general public awareness, because most people still think that this is all that DNA testing is about, which it is, but there's a lot more. We also provide things like an understanding about a whole host of different diseases and conditions, and give you an idea about where you're predisposed and where you're going to stand. And it's not just, hey, guess what, you're likely to get type 2 diabetes, but we actually take the next steps and provide advice on what you need to do and how you can best offset your chances of getting any of these things. We also have wellness reports, which are not necessarily disease-oriented, but give you a lot of ideas about things like lactose intolerance or caffeine. Just real briefly on our research side. So we do have a tremendous amount of research, as you can imagine, with 12 million customers. You get to have quite the database of different answers, and connecting that with your genome is an incredible opportunity, both for for working on different cures and treatments and science in general. And our research platform basically works, like I said, people participate, you combine that with their genetics surveys, and we end up with discoveries. And this puts us in a great position then, because for many different conditions and diseases, like some of these here, and by the way, this is an older slide, these numbers are all higher now, we were able to significantly increase different treatment methods, because what would have taken years to try and find, for instance, a sizable group for epilepsy or Parkinson's, we've got tens of thousands of them ready to participate. So it generally cuts clinical trial times in half. And then our therapeutics part is working on creating different drugs. And we've seen that when you're matching up the human genetic support originally, it is much more likely for that drug or treatment to succeed. And that's kind of the same thing, survey and genetic data. We target people by their phenotype, and then we come up with drug discoveries, and then clinical trials and product approvals. So that's kind of an oversimplification, but that's basically what we're doing. And this is just showing that for each person, we get about an average of 200 genetic insights. And of the 150 papers that we've published, there's been over 1,500 genetic discoveries, and we continue publishing. And I wanted to draw as kind of a final thing, we're wrapping this all in, how this fits in with COVID-19. We've been working on this large COVID-19 study. And that may seem like it's out of left field, but the genetic significance and connection with COVID, for instance, years ago when there was that cruise ship, the other norovirus, we were able to identify the genetic connection there. And we're in the middle of a big project right now. We're already gaining a lot of insights on understanding it, so we can help our customers understand it's both their predisposition, so your susceptibility for COVID-19, but also the severity. So we can identify, first of all, genetically, how likely you are to get it, but also how severe the actual experience with COVID-19 might be, and then include all of the other factors that are affecting it one way or the other, including things like blood type. So we've made a lot of advances on that, and we'll continue, and we're trying to set an example by sharing out all these results. This is not stuff that we're holding in just for ourselves, but sharing it out widely for other researchers to help with treatments and a vaccine. So we see this as, everything is happening at a faster pace. And I think that the role that genetics is going to play in this and future health and medicine is going to also accelerate.